Dr. L. Ronald Durham. This weekly program opens the phone lines for you to call in live and share your questions or comments. On this program, we discuss the latest news and opinions of things that may affect the lives of those here in Daytona Beach and the nation. So join Dr. Durham for today's program.
The following show is a sponsor of Joy 106.3. Joy 106.3 is parent company Ringer Broadcasting Inc. Its owners and associates take no responsibility for the opinions or statement made by the talk show hosts, callers, or their guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of this radio station.
Good afternoon, beloved, and welcome to this edition of Let's Chat America. I am your radio host, Reverend Dr. L. Ronald Durham. My lovely co-host, Maureen, a.k.a. Mo, is in the studio. Tyler is behind the board today as our studio engineer. And we're glad because if you're tuned in, that means you're listening to the number one talk show every single Friday, broadcasting from the world's most famous beach, Daytona Beach, Florida. And today we have a power pack segment for you. We've got our good health segment coming for this quarter with our one and only Nhi Do.
Nhi Ma Do.
All right, you got the whole name. And so we're going to have a lot going on today. And after Nhi is done, we're going to get into our special report because we have to say something about the speech last night given by the president. So we're going to have all of that in today's program. So sit back, get your favorite beverage, enjoy the hour, and we're going to try to move through this as quickly as we can so we can get all of this in today. We're watching the big screen TV, and if anything breaks of national importance, we'll get that on the air to you as well. If you want to call in, pick up the phone, dial those 10 numbers, 386-222-1581. 386-222-1581. So, Nhi, welcome to Let's Chat America.
Thank you, Dr. Durham and Mo, and Tyler for having me back. Yes, it is such a pleasure and honor.
Glad to have you. And July's got a special focus. And I was not aware that this was Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. That is amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're right on time with a lot of good stuff. So you want to open up with anything before we start questions?
Sure. Yes, sir. Well, I like to, this topic is packed full. It is called Zip Code, Genetic Code, and the Power of Partnership. So we can broaden the word partnership to not just you and your spouse or your partner in crime, right? Mm-hmm. But also you and your medical provider, like you and your PA or MD, DO, nurse practitioner. However, that partnership is your partner in health. So you can keep that in mind as we go through this. And with July's health focus being Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, I'd like to read a little bit more further on that. So for this July's Healthy segment, kicking off the third quarter of the year, as Dr. Durham has alluded to, our theme this month is simple yet incredibly powerful. Better health doesn't happen in isolation. We'll explore how our environment, our relationships, and our communities influence health just as much as many of the choices that we make every day. Today, we'll discover why our zip code often influence our health as much as our genetic code, and why partnership may be one of the most overlooked prescriptions for healthier lives. So here's the question for all of us to ponder throughout this segment. What if the greatest predictor of our future health isn't simply what's written in our DNA, but what surrounds us each and every single day? With that,
that's powerful. And we didn't mention to you, in case this is the first time you are seeing Nhi Do on our broadcast today, she is with Conviva Care Centers, and she is a physician associate there, but she's working on her doctorate. Oh, wow. I can't wait. I think in October, you will be Dr. Nhi Ma Do.
Yes, sir. Yes, my Doctor of Medical Science
we're all excited
is
here.
With the ATSU program. So, yes, go Bucky, right? Yes. Conviva has transitioned our name to be called Conviva Senior Primary Care, a CenterWell company. And our website is still the same with Conviva Care Centers with an S.com. Our phone number is 1-855-888-4874. And I'm currently practicing out the North Daytona location, so we do have a local number that I would drop here real quick too. Is 386-241-1657. And in Volusia County, as we're focusing more locally, our Daytona market now has 10 Conviva locations. And I have transferred to the North Daytona for nearly a year now, since I was at the Ormond Beach location previously, and we're in that plaza where Bucky Car Wash is, right across from them. So lots of insurance. We accept original Medicare and many of the Medicare Advantage plans, so you can contact the local clinic and confirm any specific details. And at this time, within the market, we do have a few opened wellness centers that are from Palm Coast down to or over to Orange City and down to Port Orange. So we have 4 locations where activity coordinators are still doing classes at those locations. So I just want to mention that first.
And for your information, everybody, Conviva has a lot of free stuff that they do for the community. So listen, you can pick up the phone, call one of those Conviva centers, and they'll be happy to get you in and get you looked at and give you some real good tips that'll help you stay healthy. And that's why Nhi has been on this program now for almost 3 years. It's been a while that we've been doing these health segments with Nhi, and so we're so happy. So let's get right into it, Nhi. This segment is meant to elevate our conversation about treating disease and the conditions for people to be able to thrive so they have resilience, healthy lifespans, and ultimately, what inspired you for today's topic?
So that is an excellent question to kick us off. Many people believe that their future health is mostly determined by genetics. While our genes matter, they are only a part of the story. Research increasingly shows that where we live, learn, work, worship, age, and what we call a zip code can have a tremendous influence on our health outcomes. But equally important is who walks alongside us on that journey. So health isn't something we achieve alone. It's something we build together. So what makes this concept feel more tangible for me recently is actually in one of my doctoral courses, I was looking at the life expectancy differences right here in Florida. So if you want to Google, and then Mo just demonstrated that right before we hop on the show. Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, you can go to rwjf.org and you can do the same for your zip code. So my parents, many of you who have been listening in for a while, live on the opposite coast from us here. And I travel back and forth often across the state, especially now that my little sweet 8.5-month old baby nephew, Noah, has made them first-time grandparents, where somewhere between those long drives across the state, I found myself reflecting on how different communities can shape daily life and long-term health. So I decided to use that to look it up. So in Volusia County, the average life expectancy is about 76 years young.
Wow.
While in Pinellas County, it is closer to 79.
And let's move to Pinellas.
Yes, and so you might think 3 years may not sound dramatic at first glance, but they represent more birthdays celebrated, more time with grandchildren, more memories created, and more years living independently. So even within the same state, just 3 hours difference of a drive, right? 3 hour apart. I mean, environment really matters.
It does.
And that's what inspired
today's
topics.
Amazing. Because your zip code is, it's integral to who you are.
Yes.
I'll get it out. Because where you live really matters, and the environment around where you live really impacts your day-to-day life.
Yes.
And so, people, this is an important segment. If you have somebody that you love and you want to keep them healthy, tell them to tune into the program today. If you're on Facebook, as a matter of fact, there's a little share button that you can hit, and it'll go to all of your contacts, and they can be listening and watching along with you today. So, Nhi, 2 people can have similar genetic risks, yet they experience really different health outcomes depending on a lot of factors. So, would you elaborate to our listeners a little bit more on some of what those factors are?
Absolutely. So, some of the greatest influences on health are much less visible. So, I'll name a few. The neighborhoods we live in, the safety of our streets, and whether healthy choices are realistically accessible in everyday life. So according to Healthy People 2030, and you can look this up too, these are known as the social determinants of health, the conditions in which people are born, live, learn, work, and age. And these factors influence everything from physical activity and sleep quality to stress levels and our emotional well-being. So to answer your question, two people could be genetically similar, but what differ could be their access to nutritious foods, their safe places to exercise, their quality education, transportation, and the list goes on. And furthermore, we can also consider healthcare access, social support, economic opportunities, and these factors influence daily choices and ultimately shape health span and lifespan, as you mentioned earlier. And these are especially relevant to my work in senior primary care because many of my patients face transportation barriers, social isolation, food insecurity, and health literacy challenges.
I'm particularly aware that people are looking for cheaper ways to eat because of the economy right now, and they're making poor choices as a result. They're foregoing fresh vegetables and they're buying canned vegetables, or they're bypassing protein altogether and living on pasta. And I wonder what the impact will be on our health in the long term when we're finished going through this terrible economic phase that we're in.
Right. Yes. I'm gonna segue a little bit from this. As you know, I'm certified in lifestyle medicine. The American College of Lifestyle Medicine has a partnership with now Blue Zones Project. So you can look up Blue Zones with an S project.com, and that is a extensive ongoing effort in communities that are in agreement to partner with Blue Zones Project can actually transform their cities. So I'll give you one quick example. Albert Lee, Minnesota in 2009 fell into like the 80 something forgot the exact number, like the ranking of the counties for health, and they jump all the way to 30 something. That's how impactful that project, when it was run as a pilot in that community, was. So if you think about it, it's really the environment and the policy surrounding that environment that can really make or break a community. I think that's a really important point.
But it's important to realize that there is a cost involved in good health. You can't eat hot dogs every day. You have to eat healthy food. And so, who underwrites the cost?
Well, we have to support our local farmers, like farmers markets. We have to really support our locals who are putting their hands and being out there in the sun, in the heat, to really bring us those foods. And, I think that's part of the thing that I really feel like one of the most impactful that I see the partnerships within ACLM now extending to like Blue Zone is that they don't just rely on individual behavior change and willpower for effective, impactful, sustainable results. Instead, they create those lasting change through permanent or semi-permanent changes to the surroundings, public policies, and then social networks.
So, Nhi, why does partnerships matter? Because a lot of what you're talking about seems to be collaborations and partnerships that are going on. So why is that important to our health?
Yes, I have to add that as a big piece to the power of partnership, and that's a perfect segue, Dr. Durham. So once we now recognize that health is influenced by more than individual choices, we realize no one could carry the burden alone. And when we understand that health is influenced by both our biology and our environment, we stop asking, what's wrong with this person? And then begin asking, what barriers might this person be facing? And in my work on more geriatrics background, we know of the 5 M's. And the 5 M's in short are like matters most, mobility, medications, multi-complexity. It used to be 4 M's, and then they added the multi-complexity piece, and mind as well. So mental health and mind. So tying that back, instead of what's the matter with you, by asking what matters most to you. So that shift from judgment to curiosity is where compassion truly begins. And this is where partnership becomes so powerful. So let's respect every role. I'm going to name every role for the value that we each bring. So let's put we put ourselves in these roles' shoes, right? So I'm going to try to do both as provider and patient. So who are the patients? So patients are the experts in their own lives, right? So our patients are our partners, providers. If you're listening, in our providers or clinicians out there, so our patients are our partners in health. Speaking as a primary care provider myself, and as a patient, also, patients like to feel empowered. Isn't that right, Mo?
Oh, yes.
Speaking also, yes, as patient herself too. Next are caregivers. What are their roles? Caregivers provide support and encouragement. And they also do need the nurture and support. Next are the healthcare teams who are out there listening too, provide evidence-based guidance. So in my personal opinion, I believe that it's just as important to be coaches as it is to be a provider. When you are empowering a patient with their lifestyle change, doing shared decision making, applying motivational interviewing skills, those are the times that they will go home after that visit and make the choices that actually will be most impactful for their lives. Now let's bring up some community organizations, right? Let's Chat America. They all address social needs. So example, we have Volusia's Council on Aging. We have one of your listeners that are that have shared with me her Healthier, Wealthier, Wiser, Belinda's nonprofit, and now also the Blue Zones project, to give a broader example. Then public health efforts, create healthier environments. Please, if you're listening and you're influencing anywhere in public health. So over the years, I've also been grateful for opportunities to contribute to lifestyle medicine initiatives, focusing on bridging these gaps, whether it's from curriculum development around nutrition, movement, sleep, stress management, and to support clinician education also, and community-based wellness strategies, just like us here sharing on the radio with healthy segments. And I would say one of the most meaningful parts of this work has been helping others recognize that sustainable health is rarely about willpower alone. It's about creating environments where healthier choices become more feasible, accessible, and supported. And sometime, and I'm going to put this out there, Mo, maybe one day healthier choices is the only choice that you can make.
That would be wonderful. If you're just tuning in, this is Let's Chat America here on Joy 106.3 FM. Our guest today is Physician Associate Nhi Ma Do, better known as Nhi Do. And our segment, this is July, and I did not know, and Nhi has helped us to understand that July is Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. And so that's what we're talking about today. If you've got a question you'd like to ask Nhi, you can pick up the phone and dial those 10 numbers, 386-222-1581. That's 386-222-1581. So Nhi, how does lifestyle medicine bridge with our Minority Mental Health Awareness Month this July? How do the two of them kind of coalesce and come together?
Very much so. So Minority Mental Health Awareness Month reminds us that mental health doesn't exist in a vacuum. Chronic stress, financial strain, social isolation, discrimination, language barriers, limited access to care, just to name a few, all influence emotional well-being. So that's why addressing mental health requires both compassion for the individual and the partnership with the community. So one of the reasons I love lifestyle medicine is because it embraces both personal responsibility and community responsibility. We empower individuals with the evidence-based tools, but we also recognize that healthy choices become easier when our communities create supportive environments, because not everyone starts from the same place. And as I mentioned briefly earlier about Blue Zones Project, I'm going to throw a word out there for you to look up on Google. Life radius. So by definition, that means that the environment where people spend 90% of their lives in, so where you work, play, pray, and live, right? The best investment for optimizing the environment, according to Dan Buettner, is policy. So different communities may experience barriers related to healthcare access, language, transportation, food security, or the stigma around mental health. But improving health outcomes requires listening, understanding, and partnering with communities to develop solutions that are not only culturally meaningful, but also sustainable. So the evidence continues to grow through organizations like the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, now Blue Zones Project, showing that many chronic conditions, and I put chronic in quotations there, including any cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, obesity, and depression, are shaped not only by personal choices, but also by the environments surround these choices. So, and I can give some quick examples. So if we have limited walkability or unsafe neighborhoods, that can reduce physical activity. If we have long commutes and poor infrastructure, that often can increase stress and sedentary behavior. If we have a lack of green space, that can impact mental restoration and emotional health. If we have social isolation within communities, that can affect longevity and quality of life. So currently in my clinical practice, I've learned that even the most motivated patients can struggle to sustain healthy habits when their environment does not support them.
Absolutely. And, just walkability, which is one of the things you talked about, living in communities where the streets are paved, there's sidewalks instead of just walking on dirt roads, for instance, that might be unstable for people who are up in age. All of those contribute, like you mentioned, to just that healthy lifestyle. And so if you're out there listening and you've got loved ones who you might be a little concerned about, their walkability. Are they able to get around the house? Are they able to get out of the house and be safe walking? Those are things that we should be thinking about as parents and grandparents and caregivers, because sometimes the people that we care for are not really doing all that they need to do to make sure that they're living the kind of healthy lifestyle that Nhi is talking about here today. So get out there, everybody, and check on those people you love and make sure that they're living their best life, because that's so important when you get to that age 65 and up, that you're living those years the best way that you can.
Well, there's also another aspect of this topic of walkability. For instance, Deltona, the largest city in Volusia County, is not a walkable community.
In many cases,
it has 95,000 people, but there are no corner stores. There are very few pockets where you could shop. You need a car. So you have to have a car to go everywhere and do everything, which means you're not walking. And if you're not walking, you're not getting exercise.
Wow, I'm glad you mentioned that. So they may want to consider adopting the Blue Zone Project themselves, because guess what? Jacksonville, just an hour north of us, they're starting to revamp their community. Because I think, like you said about just sidewalks alone, with Albert Lee in 2009, they actually extended like a 9-mile radius of walking for everybody in that community, and also widening it so that it allows for like bicycling also instead of just the walkers alone. So they widen the sidewalk.
That's very, very important. So Nhi, I'm going to move you down to your main call of action, because we do have to get to our segment that we want to get to. So you've got some things that I think are important for people to know what they can do. I started talking about some of them. I might have taken some of your thunder.
No worries,
but I know you've got some call of actions that all of us can take.
So whether we're talking about nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress management, social connectedness, or avoiding risky substances. Success often comes with partnership and accountability. So I'm going to give you a couple examples that you can adopt after today or right after the show. Not in the heat, of course. Walking with a friend, cooking or having a meal with family, working with a healthcare interprofessional team, joining a community group, volunteering, and learning from trusted sources. So health grows in connection, and when purpose aligns with partnership, then everyone benefits. So let's also address some of these social economic hardships that create the need for more collaboration. So outcomes will be better health, stronger communities, and a brighter future altogether for all of us.
Absolutely.
And in close, do you want me to kind of close up so then we can transition over to you both? Yeah. So I have a couple of messages. If there is one message I'd love for all of our listeners to remember today is that your health story is not written by your genes alone. It is influenced by far more than your genes. Your environment matters. Your relationship matters. Your community matters. So, and perhaps most importantly, we all don't have to do it all alone.
That's right.
Yes, and when we combine these personal action with supportive partnerships, health literacy, healthier communities, we then create the conditions for longer lives, healthier years, and greater well-being for everybody. And that's the true power of empowerment through partnership. And I'll mention briefly, my resource blog is nhimado.org, so my full name, .org. And on there, recently for July, I made a post that released July 1st on the empowerment through partnership as an inspiration too. And finally, I wanted to make sure I dedicate this briefly for the Florida Academy of PAs. So it's a pivotal time for PAs, physician associates, here in the state of Florida. And FAPA is the acronym for Florida Academy of PAs. FAPA continues to make waves. So not only by advancing our profession, but by strengthening our collective ability to improve patient care across the state. So recently I had the experience of my 3-day weekend with full of connections, meaningful reunions at the FAPA Symposium right here. They were hosting it at Daytona Beach Shores, and it will come back again in 2027. I was inspired by so many PAs in leadership or in practice, all of us in practice who continue to advocate for our patients, strengthen our profession, and expand access to high quality care. So this conference reaffirmed quite a number of things I've come to believe over the last 9+ years as a PA, is that healthcare is a team sport. And the greatest progress happens when patients, caregivers, health professional team members, educators, policymakers, and communities work toward shared goals. So by investing upstream, we're talking about in prevention, in health literacy, collaboration, whole person care, we strengthen not only individual lives, but also our health system as a whole. And healthcare will never be perfect. We can all agree. But there will always be opportunities to learn, innovate, and build stronger bridges between evidence, practice, and the people that we serve. And for any PAs out there listening or listeners who sees a PA as your medical provider, your clinician in the state of Florida here, please ask your PA to join and support FAPA for the sustainability of our profession. So fapaonline.org, so FAPAonline.org, it's the only organization dedicated to exclusively advancing and protecting the PA profession in Florida. So here's to continuing to empower one another, to promote healthcare over sick care, and to build healthier communities together.
That is so important.
And thank you again for having me back on the show.
And I can't believe you've been so many years working as a PA, because if you're watching us on Facebook, Nhi looks like she's about 15 years old.
I appreciate that, Dr. Durham.
So,
I'm just aging backward after I turned 30, right?
okay.
Yeah.
So
But-
it's
Like that
amazing.
movie. What was that movie with the guy with
remember.
Brad Pitt was aging backwards?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was born old and became a baby. Yeah.
Right. But we're always happy to have Nhi Do here with us on Let's Chat America. Again, she is with Conviva Wellness Centers, and she is a physician's associate there and has been with our program now for about 3 years. And she'll be back. She'll be back for her next quarterly segment. That'll be in October.
October 9th, right
October.
on my mom's birthday again.
Oh, so put
Happy
that on
early
your
birthday,
calendar,
Mom.
everybody. Nhi Ma Do will be
October
back
9th.
in October because we want to keep these health segments alive, and it's important that you maintain a healthy lifestyle, and that's why Nhi is here to give us those tips that we need to stay healthy, stay well, and to stay vibrant in our communities. And so thank you, Nhi, once again.
I
And,
appreciate you, Dr.
We
Durham.
appreciate Conviva for letting you come over here and be with us.
Yes, I appreciate that too.
Each time you
Yes.
come, and we always learn a whole lot when you're with us on the program.
Yes.
Nhi Ma Do, everybody. Conviva Wellness Center.
Well,
Look,
Conviva Senior
uh,
Primary Care.
Conviva Senior Primary Care. There's all
A
kinds of names.
Central company.
But just
Yeah.
remember the name Conviva.
Yes, Conviva.
And
That's all you
you'll
need.
get there.
Yes.
And you can look them up. You can check the website out. A lot of great information. And again, they do a lot of things that you don't have to come out of your pocket to pay for. And that's so very vital and important when money is not flowing like we would hope that it would. So thank you, Nhi, once again.
You are
Love
most welcome. I'm gonna flash the back of my shirt here real quick, just to
Okay.
show you the lifestyle medicine.
Got all kinds of
All
stuff on
the-
the shirt.
Yes, all the connectedness theme from ACOM. This was last year conference shirt.
And it's
so-
about collaboration. So Nhi will be back, everybody, in October, as we mentioned. Keep tuning in because these health programs are so vital to you and your family. We're going to switch to our second segment real quick because many of you may have, if you didn't watch it, you don't have to worry about it. I watched it for you so that you don't have to watch it. But last night there was a special, I guess, address given by Mr. Trump. And so today we needed to have a sober, I think, unflinching conversation because what we witnessed yesterday was not just a political speech. In many ways, I believe it was a deliberate attempt to manipulate, mislead, and sow doubt in the American election process. Fact checkers across the country, as a matter of fact, from AP News to Reuters to PolitiFact, have already torn the speech apart, calling out repeated falsehoods about the 2020 election, China, ballot security, and a whole lot more. And yet, many Republican leaders who know that these claims are false remain absolutely silent.
He's really got them dumbed down, hasn't he?
Silence in the face of a lie is complicity. But let's start with something strange, something deeply troubling.
Yeah, Dr. Durham, I'm still stuck on the opening line. Out of nowhere, Trump begins his speech with transgender for everyone. What does that have to do with election integrity? What does that have to do with democracy? It felt erratic, almost like a diversion tactic, a shock line meant to rile up emotions before he launched into the real purpose of the speech, which is undermining trust in America's elections. And here's the part that should alarm every one of your listeners. Trump's own intelligence officials, including John Ratcliffe, his director of national intelligence, publicly stated there was absolutely no evidence of China interfering in the outcome of the 2020 election. Multiple fact-checking organizations have confirmed this, yet Trump continues repeating the claim.
So, Mo, let's go a little deeper. The White House website, the official record of this administration, has quietly redacted or removed portions of the intelligence community's findings that originally stated that the 2020 election was both fair and secure. So why erase your own administration's documented truth? Why hide what your own experts concluded?
Because it doesn't support what you're purporting.
Some analysts say that this is part of a broader strategy, a strategy to justify seizing ballots in states where Republicans will lose in November. Let that sink in. Not recounting ballots, not auditing ballots, seizing the ballots. That's not democracy. That's not constitutional governments. That is not America.
Dr. Durham, this is where the danger becomes crystal clear. If a sitting president can declare an election illegitimate before it even happens, if he can prime his supporters to reject any result he doesn't like, if he can pressure state officials to overturn outcomes, then we are no longer talking about politics. We are simply talking about manipulation. We're talking about the potential end of democracy as we know it. This is not exaggeration. This is not partisan spin. This is what constitutional scholars, former federal judges, and bipartisan election experts have been warning us for months. Listeners should always verify information with trusted sources, and those trusted sources are sounding the alarm.
Yes, even our information. Verify what we tell you with trusted
Absolutely.
sources. America at this moment should galvanize us. This is not the time for apathy. This is not the time for, quote, my vote doesn't matter.
Mercy.
This is not the time for I don't like either candidate.
Mercy.
This is the time to vote as if your rights, your voice, your future, and your children's future depended on it, because guess what? They do. We must restore checks and balances on the executive branch. We must restore checks and balances on the judicial branch. And the only way to do that is through the ballot box, by ensuring the minority does not continue ruling as the majority.
Dr. Durham, I'll say it very plainly. Democracy is not self-cleaning. It requires participation. It requires vigilance. It requires courage. If we allow lies to go unchallenged, if we allow silence to replace accountability, if we allow fear to replace truth, then we will lose the very system that has sustained this nation for nearly 250 years. This is our moment. This is our responsibility. This is our call to action.
So, family, before we sign off the air today, let me just speak directly to your heart. America is standing at a crossroads, not a Republican versus Democrat, not of conservative versus progressive, but we're standing at a crossroads of truth versus deception, democracy versus disorder, and freedom versus manipulation. We cannot pretend that this moment is ordinary. We cannot act like this is just another election cycle. We can't shrug our shoulders while powerful voices attempt to rewrite reality, erase facts, and condition millions of people to distrust the very system that protects their rights. History is watching us. Our children are watching us. And future generations, like that of my granddaughter Tyler, are going to ask, what did you do when democracy was placed on the operating table and the surgeon holding the scalpel was a man willing to cut through the Constitution to preserve his own power? Listeners should always verify information with trusted sources. We said that earlier. And those sources are clear. The 2020 election was safe and it was secure. The intelligence community found zero evidence of foreign interference from China.
That was Trump's intelligence community, because they were the ones who did the investigation.
He was the president at the time. Courts across the nation, including judges appointed by Donald Trump, rejected every major claim of fraud. Yet, the lies continue. And silence from those who know better is not neutrality, it is participation. And so we wanted to bring you this segment because I don't know about you, Mo, but I was deeply disturbed.
I was livid
by some of the comments. And, immediately the fact checkers began to dig in, go to work. And ABC, as a matter of fact, and NBC did not carry the broadcast live. And so Trump is livid and is threatening to remove their license because they didn't carry the broadcast live.
happened to free press.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's just amazing how far he seems to be willing to go to bring back 2020 and just prove somehow, some way that election was stolen from him. And all indications, everything that was fact-checked, has repeatedly, again and again and again, lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit, has proven that if there was anything, it was so minuscule that it made absolutely no impact whatsoever
There were 19,
on the outcome of that election.
19 since 1992, I believe it was, up until today. 19 people who attempted to vote who weren't supposed to vote. 19.
19.
And he needed how many votes in Georgia alone? 11,780?
Yeah, something,
Yeah.
something
Let
close
me
to that.
let me make an observation, and this is a personal observation, but it's one that many people side with me on from all walks of life. We have known of Mr. Trump and had dealings with him as early as 1986.
Mm-hmm.
That's personally, Dr. Durham and I.
Yeah.
And the one thing we learned from watching and observing him is that he believes that if he says something enough times, it becomes truth. He says he's number one, and if you hear it often enough, you begin to believe it. How else can you explain the success of his TV show, the success, the temporary success of so many of his ventures? People jump in feet first, like with Trump University, because they think he says he's the biggest, the best, number one, and they bought in. That's been his modus operandi since the day his father gave him $200 million and says, go and have some fun. This is the man whose strategy is to repeat something over and over and over again so that other people will believe it. He has, according to some, he has manipulated his tax returns. We got caught up in 1988 when he manipulated his financial standing with Bank of America, and they wouldn't give him any more money for building the Taj Mahal. They were threatening to shut it down, and he said, fine, I'll just declare bankruptcy and take you with me. And they were right. They were so overinvested in him because they believed his lie that he was the best and the brightest. And they had no choice but to give him more money so that it could be built. What happened years later? Same thing that happens to most of his ventures. Because he lied his way into it, it falls apart. And it ended up being sold off and bankrupt.
And I don't know how many people remember before Mr. Trump actually jumped into the political landscape, he made a startling comment. And you can look this up, you can Google it, and I'm kind of paraphrasing it a little bit. But he said, if I did decide to run for office, again paraphrasing, I'd run as a Republican because they will believe anything. And the one thing that you have to kind of admire him for is he has a way of communicating with people. With some people who it's very, very effective, and they believe virtually everything that he says.
Because they want to be like him.
And in many cases, without verifying the information, without fact-checking the information, they just take verbatim whatever you know,
They don't
he
realize.
decides to say.
They don't even realize or want to
And-
acknowledge that the emperor has no clothes.
Well, it's amazing. So, folks, we wanted to share our special thoughts on the speech last night. If you watched it, I'm sure you have thoughts of your own, whether you're for or against. But we wanted to kind of give some fact checking to some of the things that were said.
Right, and my apologies to all my Republican friends, as few as they might be. I don't mean to demean any of you.
No,
I
it's
simply,
not about demeaning.
I simply got the wake-up call, and I'm waiting for you to get it.
We're not trying to demean or make anyone feel less than anything. We just want to state the truth, let you fact check the truth,
Yes,
and then
go
come
ahead.
to your own decision. That's what democracy is about. You
Yes,
can
it
believe
is.
what you want,
That's right.
you can reject what you want, but both voices should be heard on both sides. So we give our take, and you can definitely fact check what we say and have your own opinion as well. We didn't get a call on that today. I'm surprised.
Shocked.
That, nobody called us about that segment. But we'll be talking about a little bit more next week on some of the things that are happening between now and then. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. We always enjoy being with you. This Sunday, as a matter of fact, I will be the guest at Bethlehem Missionary Baptist Church. They are located at 410 Webb Street in DeLeon Springs, Florida, which is not too far from Daytona Beach. If you want to take a road trip, I will be. It's their Friends and Family Day, I believe.
Family and Friends.
Family and Friends Day. So, this Sunday, Family and Friends Day at Bethlehem Missionary Baptist Church in DeLeon Springs. They're on 410 Webb Street. Service starts at 10 a.m. Love to see you there. Come on over, say hello. And I believe usually after their Family and Friends Day, they have a great soul food in the dining hall. So it's going to be a great time. Come on out and visit with us, and we'll be glad to see you. Until next time, we love you, and keep tuning in. This is Let's Chat America on Joy 106.3 FM. Love you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening.